Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth. Middleman.
Hello there and welcome to the Middlemen of Juros. The rains are back and so are we. I am Juro Innocent Ajoluba, and with me on today's show are Juro Evans Ufeli. He'll be examining the state of the country as the cost of living skyrockets. Again in the house is Juro Olajumoke Alawode James, who wants to know when or if Nigerians will ever be able to afford brand new cars again. Juro Emeka Madunago will be discussing the need for Nigerians to increase productivity, and keeping his shirt on this show is also Juro Cyril Abaku, who will be examining food politics in Nigeria. Myself, Juro Innocent, will be talking about the current food inflation and its implication for national unity. But that will be when we come back from this short break. Please stay with us. Don't go anywhere.
Middleman.
Welcome back. My case is the current food inflation in Nigeria a sign that Nigeria as a country cannot feed her people and should thus allow aspiring separatists to go their ways? Some countries across the globe at this time are less than 20 years old. Worldwide, you will agree with me, it has come to be a normal thing for countries to split up. Where there is pervading insecurity, food shortages, steady brain drain, massive corruption, ethnic distrust, and a passive government, as is the case in Nigeria. Creating new countries with new government may be a way out. Except in Nigeria, sometimes where political oligopolies always paint it like a taboo. Some countries in this category are from Africa. South Sudan became a country in 2011, Kosovo 2008, Montenegro 2006. From Kosovo and Czechoslovakia, we still have Serbia in 2006, East Timor from Indonesia 2002, Palau 1994, Eritrea from Ethiopia here in Africa in 1993, Semye Czech Republic, Chemie Slovakia, and on the 10th place, Bosnia-Herzegovina in 1992. How did they emerge? Their processes were simple. The people voted for independence, completed the disintegration, and the United Nations stepped in to declare them independent, which resulted in their status as new sovereign states. Again, others voted in a referendum where if the majority population of the separating area voted for independence, the country emerged as a sovereign state. So, is it time for Nigeria to prove itself a mature democracy in this order by conducting a referendum, I dare say, for all the old eastern region and other Igbo-speaking areas to freely decide their political future and destiny? My verdict, rather than being a very large failed state, it is better to reduce territory and cost. Let aspiring nationalities go. Gentlemen,
I absolutely agree with you, Juro Innocent. Three things immediately. One, that we must have a referendum. I mean, you cannot continue to blame the colonialists for amalgamation in 1914. By 2014, we were old enough, 100 years, to decide, do we want to stay together? And President Jonathan had the rare privilege, right, to have gathered the national confab in that year. Unfortunately, he said Nigeria's unity was not on the table. He should have allowed us discuss everything, including our unity. Do we want to stay together? Also, there's been the MASOB, the Biafra, and IPOB agitations. Everybody agitating. You want to have a referendum and decide, do we want to stay together and how do we want to stay together? Lastly, is that the way we were amalgamated across ethnicities and nations, people with different cultures and ways of life, by 64 years of independence, we should not be blaming the past. We should rather be the ones determining our future and saying, look, these people are very different. For instance, the way we don't have a problem with Cameroon and Togo now, I won't have a problem with Sokoto or Maiduguri if they are in another country of theirs and their nationhood is not holding back my own as either Arewa or Southern Nigeria. So I absolutely agree with you.
Innocent, I like your case. It's one discussion that is very critical in the time reference of the Nigerian state. But unfortunately, the 1999 Constitution as amended does not make any provision for referendum or plebiscite as we speak. So the national conferences organized, like you said, by Jonathan, whatever was agreed, which actually was not implemented, but if they had agreed, if they had talked about everything and agreed, they would have to amend the constitution before they implement. Now, if you look at the way we amalgamated, Lord Lugard did that amalgamation in 1914 and set up the 1914 Council for Administrative Convenience. If you look at it, we had before then the Southern Protectorate, the Northern Protectorate, and the Colony of Lagos. Lagos became a crown colony in 1861, now an extension of England. But when Lord Lugard amalgamated the country, he did it not for anything other than succeeding at his assignment to have the entire space, Northern Protectorate, Southern Protectorate, Colony of Lagos, as one country.
Easy to govern.
Yes, easy to govern. That is what was projected. Now, after the 1914 amalgamation, he created the 1914 Council, which made an attempt to govern. It collapsed. Our constitutional development now snowballed into where you had the Clifford Constitution of 1922, still an attempt to get us on the right track, to manage our ethnicity and our diversity and the rest of it. 1922 Constitution also collapsed. We have the Richard Constitution of 1946 that also made an attempt on regionalism. 1922 Clifford Constitution created elective principle that led to the first political party in Nigeria in 1923, NNDP. Now, yes, but when we snowballed to 1914, 1914 created regionalism, 1946 rather, created that regionalism, and the second political party also sprang up. Before then, Cameroon was part of Nigeria. You understand? Yeah, they pulled out as a result of the fact that those early documents, constitutional documents, had the option of secession. Now, self-determination at that time was easier discussed and concluded, even up to 1963. Now, if you look at the Littleton Constitution of 1954, you see that the attempt was to ensure that we have a case where the issues of our tribal dichotomy or compartmentalization was managed accordingly. Now, you pulled out from there. We now had what they call the Willings Commission. A commission was created specifically for ethnic and tribal issues. When the Yorubas in the southwest Nigeria raised a lot of issues about people from other regions coming to take the jobs in Lagos, there was crisis then, and the Willings Commission was meant to cure that. By the time we got to the Littleton Constitution, we were preparing for independence already. Now, we now had the 1953 Constitutional Conference and in 1975, 75 Constitutional Conferences. All was an attempt to make Nigeria work. Okay?
Is Nigeria working now?
Now, no, we pulled out, we got the independence in 1963. The Constitution in 1960 retained the, what do you call it, the option of secession. In 1963, it was there because that was how we got the Midwestern region from our also. But at the end of the day, referendum different from the other. So the issue is that if we are going to go the way of Slovakia, Serbia, and the rest of them, Eritrea, and the rest of them, we must have a law that guarantees it. That's one. The people must have a mindset.
Yes.
For not enslaving one another. If you're not comfortable, you can go. So,
yes.
But as currently constituted, Nigeria does not have those propensity. So we have to start from behavioral to legal to constitutional before we can hash any meaningful.
Except that, believe in barrister, if we were to, because we've seen these Fissiparous fissures in the way some things have happened. The Yoruba, for example, if you look at them, if indeed was by, I believe that Mr. Adelupa's intervention is not just for the Southeast, for example. It's about as many that feel
Agitation.
Yes, now for me, primarily, the way I look at secession or breaking away, or disintegration, the fact that disintegration does not only happen because it has failed. Disintegration will happen because, one, it failed and we say we'll not do it again. Or secondly, because we have succeeded up to a point and we are now better enlightened and believe that we can succeed even better separated.
Yes.
So separating is not necessarily an anathema, it's not a bad thing in itself.
Yes.
But I think that when you look at how far Nigeria has journeyed, okay, it will be very difficult, for example, for what is today's southeast region to break away without carrying the south along with it.
Of course, they need the
south will tell you that they are not same.
They are not evil.
Then, the way you look at the Yoruba, they are not monolithic. Yoruba,
Yes, so yes now.
You saw what happened in the Ife Amala.
And from the Rakeke, teacher is right next to us like this. We say, no.
There was a document that was released on these issues, and somebody said that you may even have up to 14 different countries if the Yoruba will be allowed to go.
Yes, that nation.
Because I know that if any part of Nigeria is allowed to go, the rest.
Everybody say they are going.
And today, as I speak to you, there are people who have printed flags, written anthems, and currency. They're waiting for that doomsday to come.
Yes.
I just believe that if that happened, the thing that is making us to say want to pull apart may not have been cured. Nigeria's national question can be addressed. One, by a new constitution.
Yes.
By a leadership that understands its mission and is willing to work for it to happen.
True.
Anything other than that, even if we break into 15 more countries, I can assure you that this problem that you're seeing today, it won't go away. Our national question, and this is the problem. We've had 10 different conferences. We've had the books, for example, written by one man alone, like Chief Kofi Amorowo. They cannot say that they don't know the answer.
Yes.
What Nigeria does is that when there's an answer, they now walk away from the answer and it back into the question.
Another question.
The complication is quite.
The interesting thing was sometime last week, somebody put something on Facebook that there are Yorubas around the Oshimiri side of Delta State.
Yes, now.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name.
The old Belgium, where Yorubas now.
No, I know in Edo, but in Delta, yes, around the Igbo-speaking Oshimiri. But he said because there are people speaking around them,
there are few.
Igbo-speaking people around them, that's why they have, they bear bonus, but that they are Yoruba. So the issue is that even if you break up Nigeria, you will find out that culturally, there will be more contradiction.
Yes, and let me just add this.
No, but remember that Bakassi is still in Cameroon.
No, see,
nothing will happen. Let us go on.
The question of
nothing will happen, Joe.
Remember that.
I said nothing will happen.
Remember that some years ago, a member of the Senate raised an issue that there are 3 local governments in Nigeria referred to as special territories. I think either in Taraba or Adamawa State. And he said nobody has said anything about the status of these special territories.
Because they are stateless.
That they are just
they are on government space.
Nigeria has not said anything about them.
They are on government space.
Nothing. So
you mean they don't have electricity there?
They are just there. They are known documentarily as special territories.
Okay, I think the conversation will continue. The reason for my case is the primary role of any country's government is to secure lives and property within their state, and people should feel free to go about their normal business. So the conversation continues beyond this discussion. We'll take a break now. When we return, Juro Evans, fairly fresh from discussing with Rabbi, will be telling us about civil unrest due to rising costs of living in the country. Stay with us, please.
Middleman.
My case. An Igbo proverb says a cock that is taken to the house of the native doctor for propitiation of the gods without the accompaniment of tubers of yams, kola nuts, and a keg of palm wine can never be accepted by the gods. The above expression underscores the Nigerian rejection of Tinubu's thoughtless policy on fuel subsidy that brought us untold hardship. The policy did not come with the condiments of thought and strategy. It was like the one who took just a cock to the native doctor without tubers of yam and other condiments, hence the citizens' revolt. In the Leviathan by Thomas Hobbes, he opined that for no king can be rich, nor glorious, nor secured, whose subjects are either poor or contemptible, or too weak through want or dissension to maintain a war against their enemies. Whereas in a democracy or aristocracy, the public prosperity confers not so much on private fortune of one that is corrupt or ambitious, as though many times a perfidious advice, a treacherous action, or civil war. The Nigerian president and Nigerians cannot know peace under a treacherous economy like this, supervised by President Tinubu's thoughtless policies and irreconcilable incoherence. The unrestrained rise in the cost of living and the depth of confusion among the drivers of the economy is an undesirable wreckage of some sort. Cost of living has the capacity to threaten anything and bring it down, including democracy. Before now, the lives of citizens in our country was threatened by kidnappers, insurgents, bandits, and the police. Now, to add to the list, cost of living and the federal government have joined the fray. It is from this point that the citizens will submerge into many lines and form a critical mass to boot out tyranny. You cannot turn your subject into beasts and still feel that you are in charge. You lose them the moment they become beasts. Now, protest springs up from every corner of the country. Senate President Akpabio, while speaking on the floor of the upper legislative chambers on Tuesday, said that the protesters are not aware of the effort made by the Senate and the federal government to tackle the situation. That the protesters are sponsored to destabilize the government. You see, by this level of reasoning, we are drowning. My verdict: I will implore the citizen not to act any less, but to make a demand that this government must address the high cost of living. No society can subsist under leadership lacking in empathy. That the government must make life bearable for the people and stand the risks of waging against the imminent implosive uprising, bringing about economic justice by force. The responsibility of the government is to equalize opportunities for the people and govern in a manner to bring prosperity to the citizen. Any government that deviates from this must have itself to be blamed. When the people take back power by force, it comes with brutal costs. So I say again, let the government respond to the fierce urgency of now. I shall go to Rabbi again.
This case is very similar to mine, and I nearly shouted, "Hey, whoa!" to the thoughtless policies of President Tinubu. But I absolutely agree with your verdict. The people must take back the government. Simple.
You see, for me, I think Senate President Akpabio has shown himself to become more of a court jester.
Yeah, well.
Than somebody to be taken as seriously as the number 3 man in the country. The insensitivity, in his utterances only show that he's far removed. In fact, he's now more far removed from the people than when he was governor of Akwa Ibom State. Because this is a man, you know, people love to make as a reference point in terms of infrastructural development, the way he transformed Akwa Ibom State.
Built hospital that he cannot use.
But in the Senate, as Senate President, Akpabio has shown a strange, that he has undergone a strange transformation, you know, so aloof, and
Is it Agbadoism?
It's really unfortunate. Yeah, well, I don't know, but again, the worst is Tinubu. Because Tinubu ought to know that truly things are bad. That's why I was asking the other.
No, but he knows now. His children are begging us.
No. It's not about his children. We didn't elect his children.
Ewo.
We didn't even elect Akpabio.
Ewo.
He was only elected as a senator. In fact,
In one constituency.
if it was in a parliamentary system,
Of less
Akpabio would easily be thrown out of that place.
Yes.
You know, yes. By just a vote of confidence, he
Yes.
was removed
By that utterance.
as whatever, you know, the nomenclature attached to the office. By
There's
just-
conspiracy that
by-
he knows.
If I may come in here.
He
No,
knows
so
how
what I'm
they.
saying is that we voted for Bola Ahmed Tinubu
Who are the people
as
who
the
voted
president.
for
No,
him?
well,
No, presumption,
Nigerians,
presumption.
When he was declared as the president, during the presidential election. So he is the person who should bear all the responsibility for the disaster that his administration has turned out to become, because he ought to have known better.
Where is
He
he?
is not provincial like Yaradua or Buhari.
Is he in the country?
Yeah.
Is President Tinubu in the country?
Yes.
Anyway, this is my take. I am surprised that the Senate President is quoted for two things. One, that the masses are not aware
Of the
their
things they are
efforts.
doing.
It will mean the government, well looked after by public funds, freshly beneficiaries of expensive jeeps, are winking at the public in the dark. Yes, what kind of effort would you make with
Wisdom.
these resources? And the people you are making the overtures to?
I'm not seeing it.
Yes. So you are operating.
There was very blind people.
Well, you are, I wouldn't say.
The Minister of Information is not informing us.
Disconnect is on. Two, the blame game of saying that, what's that? That the
protesters
are sponsored. I mean,
It's the most uncharitable thing to say.
to say, because
Charitable thing to say.
the balance, the cliche is a hungry man
Is an angry man.
trying to sponsor a
Like
hungry man.
Thomas Hobbes said there, you see,
Is it that he doesn't know that we are hungry?
no king can find peace when the subjects have no peace. You understand? So if the citizens are unable to eat, their lives are threatened.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Now, how would you manage to sustain leadership when the people are disgruntled and they have lost their bearing completely? You need to go out there on the street and see the level of
Hunger.
physical and practical harm. People
Deprivation.
walking on the road and talking to themselves.
Oh, you didn't see one video of one man that collapsed.
Yes,
They
yes.
were walking until they gave him a plate of rice.
What
So.
food? That was the solution.
No, the man is wise. He chose where to go and collapse. He collapsed in his room. The story will be different than that.
Let me even say this. A country in which a liter of petrol is now 1,000 naira. A country in which dollar is now 1,800. A country in which an egg is around 250 naira.
200.
Okay. Are you supposed to be concerned about them protesting or those just forcing them to protest?
If truly they were sponsoring them.
Shouldn't be more worried about the fact that each and know what they are supposed to be in a country like that.
Yes.
I am talking about sponsors of the protest.
You know there's a conspiracy that Akpabio and his.
They came out in Kano. They came out in Osun.
They came out in Ibadan.
The NLC, they are coming out next week.
Next week.
They are coming out
I
next
think
week.
there's a conspiracy that Akpabio knows that some protesters are sponsored because they do those things.
That is what they do.
Exactly.
You understand? But let's even interrogate it further. If your citizens are so fragile to the point that they can be sponsored to protest against you,
Across states.
it means you have failed.
Now,
Because if you have not failed, you would have provided or produced citizens who cannot be sponsored to protest.
Yes.
Absolutely.
But the fact that they can be sponsored to protest an indictment on the government.
Okay, so that means the government cannot engender loyalty.
Very
Yes.
true.
Okay, Jiro Philip.
When we come back, Jiro Olajumoke Alawode James wants to know when Nigerians will be able to afford brand new cars again. Please stay with us. Don't go anywhere.
Middleman.
You're welcome back to the Middlemen of Jurors. My case today is a very simple one. I'm asking, when will Nigerians afford brand new cars again? Now, in 2017, I asked when Nigerians will be able to afford new cars, and at that time, I said it seems like it will only happen when we get to heaven, because people just keep adjusting to the hard life. Well, President Tinubu promised to continue from where President Buhari stopped, and Nigerians can no longer even afford second-hand cars. In 2017, people were upset that Big Brother Nigeria was being shot outside Nigeria while Nigerian companies were packing up daily. I told them it was cost of diesel sending companies out at the time. I did not envisage that cost of petrol will be making people jackpot in the nearer future. I also spoke about the threats of kidnapping the foreigners at the time. I didn't know that locals may soon be getting kidnapped in their homes. We need to hold our governments accountable for good governance and stop making excuses for them, but selfish ambitions will not allow people breathe. As Senate President is now saying people protesting in 2024 about hunger were paid to protest, is he telling us that he knows a thing or two about how protests are organized by politicians? In any case, the people who defended the Buhari government are now wailing the hardest, and some other regions don't really care. Again, we are doing my own thief is better than yours. The children of the president are asking for patience with their father. Do the government officials behave like Nigeria is broke? As far as we make excuses for our leaders because it's their turn, 5 things will happen. 1, they will travel for vacation and healthcare while parents with sick children turn to beggars to raise money for healthcare. 2, they'll fly private jets, drive luxury cars and yachts while Nigerians cannot afford to even eat again. 3, their children will attend the best schools abroad while Nigerian schools are closed incessantly and the value of our education is not even worth the paper the certificate is written on. 4, they will feed with our money and give us 5,000 naira stipends, share rice, while one minister steals the patrimony of millions of people, rather than give us electricity, security, water, cheap energy, and so on that we can use to create employment and feed our own families well. 5, and the final one, they'll believe that they are constituted authority and you should call them boss, rather than public servants who should be at our own beck and call. My verdict. At the end of the day, the real question may be, when will Nigerians be able to eat well again? The way the naira is on a free fall against the dollar, Venezuela is looking like child's play. And it's Nigeria that loses when citizens sit on their behinds and wait for the United Nations grants rather than go as a united force on the streets to ask our government to be servants or resign. Well, the president is not going to resign, no matter the decline in standard of living. Hunger protests have risen across states. Some political juggernautes have jumped in the front of some. Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, is organizing their own, while the rest of us are watching the unfolding drama, undecided if we even have the power to protest. We can pray, Abi. Keep praying, Nigerians. God is coming.
You see what I said one time on radio. I said the way this country is, the solution is prayer. I don't know whether you meant this one cynically.
Of course, it was a cynical statement. Keep on praying, because every time you say there's a problem, you will say it is well. God will save us.
The truth of the matter is, right? I don't know if we think that, and I'm not, of course, I won't rule it out. But if you look at countries where revolution has taken place, France, China, or even the Great Soviet Union of Europe, Lenin, Trotsky, and Co. Okay,
they prayed.
USSR.
And then the Arab Spring.
The Arab Spring. The way these things happen, the more you study these movements, or even Brazil, and the Nigeria situation, Nigeria appears to be unique. It appears to be on edge. It's like a country on a cliff of reality. Okay? The things that normally, I mean, in Spain, as I talked to you now, in Spain, farmers are fighting the government. They are out on the streets.
Yes.
over what
But they're
in,
still
over what in Nigeria will be considered
Luxury.
Luxury.
But you see, when I also say pray, I think that some people have come to the point that they say they won't pray again. They just want to fight their way to.
It has to be action
I think
now.
that we need both.
Because the solution is not prayers.
we need both actually.
We have been praying since.
Hold on.
I think we need both because the fact is that I don't know whether you don't get weary of just talking about these things sometimes. Even when we think that breaking up or revolution, you know, what did we come close to during the war? And even June 12. June 12 should have been enough.
No, military takeover was revolution now.
It
1966 was revolution.
After
June 12 was revolution.
I'm tired of praying.
But can I ask
Yes.
a question?
I'm tired of praying.
Can I ask a question? The wife of the president has asked Nigerians to pray.
No, but you know why?
People should pray.
Hold on. You know why?
When you say pray, the wife of the president has asked Nigerians to
Hold
pray.
on.
Is that a solution?
Let me tell you why
What are we talking about?
The solution is not prayer.
It's not prayer.
God bless you.
You were going to talk about when Nigerians will be able to afford a brand new car. Let me state that a brand new car today costs between 80 million to 120 million.
Jesus.
A brand new car, no matter the size.
Yes.
You understand? That is the cost, okay? Now, the CBN did a statistics the other time, a survey rather, and they said that I think about 70% of Nigerians have less than 500.
90%.
90% of Nigerians
Had less than 500,000 in their account.
Now, that is the one that is on record. I will tell you that there are more Nigerians that have no bank account.
Than Nigerians that are banked.
Than Nigerians that are banked, let alone having 500,000 naira in their account.
Jesus.
So, you see, we are disempowered. It's so bad that we don't even have disposable income. Disposable income are those little 10, 25,000 you put in your pocket and you can spend at any time. You don't have it.
Somebody's salary.
Yes, you don't have it, okay? So if you now tell me that the solution is prayers, I will disagree.
I disagree too.
I think the solution is that the government should encourage the citizen and inject resources, soft loans for people to start up small and middle-scale businesses. Revive that. Let's start from there. When then let's have electricity to support that.
Yes.
You see, these things are practical. They are not spiritual. But we make them to look like. In fact, we talk about China. They are not Christians there.
Yeah. God bless you.
We talk about India. They don't.
They never heard of Christianity.
So when you say, except maybe you are saying except you are saying that the prayer is to anything, including traditional worship and all that. But I know you will segregate. You understand? So I know the context of the prayer you are talking about.
Yes.
And we're also seeing some dimensions of those prayers.
Listen,
Today we are seeing some dimensions of those prayers that are actually worthless.
Christian
will be telling a Christian that other Christians will submit to you.
You do not see that
Those prayers are not necessary. We don't need them. What we need is to think.
Practical action.
When people say they are going for vigil, in fact, Nigerians should start all night thinking.
They
should stop all night.
You did not see the video of one lady talking to one pastor that you have been praying for 50 years. You say that Nigerians are hungry now because your masses are hungry, but your own children are living abroad. Sir, stop praying for us. Because it is your church in particular that has turned all the factories to churches. We now go and pray for work. Where we are supposed to work is gone now the house of prayer. The answer is not prayer.
I think Nigerians love the government. Cyril has said it that were this to be another country, we will not be as calm. What the Nigerians are asking
is that my chief is bigger than your own now.
The government should continue to give them reasons to continue loving the government. Unfortunately,
yes.
this is not in sight at all. What you've raised is that there is I don't know if it is replicable in any other part of the world. Vehicles depreciate over the years. In Nigeria now, used vehicles are now appreciating in cost.
Yes. I saw one of my used twice the price of
same thing happened to me. Same thing happened to me.
Can I give you a personal experience? I worked somewhere, some years ago. I was given an official Toyota Corona that was bought for 4.25 million. After I used it for 3 years, the actual agreement was that they would take it from my salary. But after maybe some months, they started playing some funny games, So after I left the place, after 3 years, you know, they sent me a letter to come and pay 5 million for it. I said, for what? I said, you people, you are not even ashamed to even ask me to come and pay for a vehicle when you reneged on the terms. Do you know the interesting thing? That my vehicle, at the time I left the place, I had renewed the license plate, I changed the 4 tires, bought a brand new battery, and you know, that even increased the value of the vehicle from 4.25 million to 5 million, because that's what they sold it. After 3 years.
Juro Evans said he sold his own double.
Double. My own, it was the price at which I bought it. After using it for 6 years, I sold it at the same price.
So there is a new vehicular economy, which is an irony, like I said, that cannot be replicated
In any other country.
But instead of looking at the negative side, half empty or half full cup, why don't we look at the fact that you can build a value chain of upgrading vehicles from that? Because Charles is doing something like that out of where, but I don't know how.
After driving it on Nigerian roads.
No, we have the road.
It doesn't matter when you drive it.
It's a value chain. You can provide employment. So if you have such in different places, in different parts of the country,
You don't have
you
electricity.
even have people who upgrade their.
You don't have
SUVs.
electricity to multiply,
Well,
to duplicate those
So
factors.
government should see it even.
So we will agree with Jumoke that with prayer.
I don't agree with prayer. No, I don't agree with that prayer too, because they have said that if you go to the Bible, that Jabez was more honorable than
Jabez was more honorable than his brothers.
but that he prayed that the Lord should enlarge his coast.
Yeah.
And if you look at the transition, it happened. But theologians will tell you, theologians like me will tell you that Jabez was an industrialist.
Jabez.
You see that transformation they talk about, that it happened.
He worked hard.
He went further in his business. And that thing did not happen. You see,
It was the labor
you see,
of his hands.
you see, in the scripture, between a sentence and the other might be 40 years. Yes, between one sentence and the other might be a space of 20 years.
So even
But
answer you.
when we embrace it, we'll make it look like he prayed
was
today, tomorrow.
instantly.
So this was an industrialist on his own.
I have seen lots of Nigerians, right, who have been praying for years, they stayed in poverty and died in poverty. When we return, Juro Emeka Madunogo will be discussing the need for Nigerians to increase productive capacity, as you were saying.
Middleman.
Welcome back. I hope you've been enjoying our show. For today, my case, from consumption to production, Nigeria at a crossroads. From consumption to production was the mantra adopted by the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, during campaigning for last year's election. He had reasoned that Nigerians needed to increase their productive capacity in order to meet the nation's growing needs arising from its burgeoning population and other challenges. He had said that as a subset of his core, the agricultural capabilities of the North should be vigorously exploited. His reasoning also was that agriculture should overtake oil as a prime export of the country. However, it was mocked by his political opponents. Sadly, Nigeria is today at a crossroads with a balance of payments deficit, unfavorable international trade imbalance, high food prices, and an unstable exchange rate. Where nations face such a depressing scenario, one of the things they do is to quickly ramp up exports. Nigeria has for 10 years been unable to meet the 2.2 million to 2.5 million barrels per day quota given by the Organization for Petroleum Exporting Countries due to oil theft and declining investment in the oil industry. So, what should we fall back on? Agriculture. However, we can't, because we consume more than we export. So right now, the government's focus is on flooding the markets with grains and other foodstuff while neglecting exports. Off-takers who have for years been purchasing produce directly from farmers for export have suspended their business because of shortages in the supply of grains to the local market for consumption. This will weaken our exports and our drive to correct the balance of payments deficit. And I must add that just today, the government said it was suspending its export of liquefied petroleum gas in order to meet local demand. So, yet again, we have, reduced our capacity to earn revenue in such a depressing situation. My verdict: Nigeria must change its consumption orientation by increasing the capacity in agriculture and agro-processing in order for us to lift the economy, reduce our debt burden and import dependency, and revive the economy. Consuming everything we produce will not do us any good.
I think we have entered a dangerous layer, of our personal hardship. Because now, we are crying we're not earning enough dollars.
And we are crying we're not eating enough.
Now we are pretending we want to. You see, that's why I tell you about this Tinubu's thoughtlessness.
Hello.
Now, we want to start to form self-sufficiency.
Yes.
That's why we don't want to export liquefied. We want to
And export grains.
Now we want to satisfy ourselves within, as if we have the capacity to do so, as if we are producing. It's only nations that are producing. When they produce, is so sufficient that the leftovers they export. You understand? Yes. Here you are not exporting. The little ones you are exporting, you are closing it down.
Because we want to eat
Even
it.
calling them smugglers, those moving, calling them
Pretending that you want to kill.
Can the people afford it?
At the end of the day, what we are going to have is we will not be able to earn foreign exchange enough.
And the people cannot afford the grain that you refuse to export.
Yes, and the backlash will be very disastrous. First of all, there's no grain. The federal government have no grain
at all. They have
whatsoever.
no in the reserve.
Well, I want the news.
You see that grain?
All the silos are empty.
See, COVID-19. Let me tell you.
Empty the silos.
Let me tell you, there are no grains anywhere. You see the grains federal government said they want to release. It's those rice that migration seized. Those customs seized from
grain is grain.
No, not grain is grain, because they were saying it to look like they have
They
like Joseph's capacity.
for the next 7 years.
And the grains
The federal government lied to the poor. They don't have grain.
And you know the dangerous thing in it is this. Now, Tinubu, let me say, permit me to say, pretending to cave into public demand. He's not saying, okay, it's food you want, you people want, right? We are going to let food flood.
Release grain.
At any cost. But what he's not telling Nigerians is that
You're subsidizing the food.
It will come at a price.
You see that grain is releasing. You see that grain is releasing. They are going to use 1,000 naira per liter fuel to move it to all those 774 governments.
Jesus.
Now you would think that because the federal government released the so-called grain, the price will crash. No, the price will not crash because subsidy is gone.
Hey.
You understand? So subsidy will now start to play a role, and the price will double again. When we talk about the local rice, when we're importing rice, we say no. The imported rice is too expensive. It's killing our economy. Let's encourage farmers. They injected resources. The farmers went to farm rice, brought out the rice.
It was more expensive.
You get higher than the
Imported rice.
The same thing. This grain, this invisible grain.
Anyway, my own point.
This invisible grain that the federal government released on the paper.
It's a miraculous grain, not invisible. In Nigeria, I think the hunger where we are is orchestrated. Is planned. We have reached where they want us to be. Because why I'm saying this is from Jonathan's administration through Buhari to this present government. We hear that cattle people who carry AK-47 are killing farmers in their farm. Their guns are not licensed. Nobody arrests them. Productive farmers presently in their large numbers live in IDP camps. Yes, so if a farmer is living in IDP camp, and the farm now is demonstrating Nigeria's virility. Ladies are getting pregnant in IDP camps.
There is serious population going on across all the IDP camps.
And our senators, I repeat, have very expensive jeep. One can buy how many tractors? There are no tractors. Farmers are living in IDP camps. A former House of Rep member from Plateau came on TV to say that over 60 villages in Plateau now, as he speaks, are being occupied by the headsmen who chased away and if you manage to trace your way back to your village, soldiers are guiding those headsmen. They are building new houses in those villages.
Jesus.
So the land is there. All of us know Nigeria's land has not been stolen. What are on the land
The
other
side,
side,
desolate land.
it's the other side irony.
plan
or hunger.
the other sad irony is that, okay, the rains have started. A serious country.
This planting season.
A serious country.
Generous rain for that
A
matter.
serious country should have said, okay, Nigerians, please bear with us. Give us maybe 1 to 3 months. Let us adjust. Now you have different varieties of crops.
Yes.
You can even cultivate maize 4 times in a year.
They do that.
Rice twice in a year.
GMO.
So there's the GMO one from Bill Gates. That's even so. Now, if a serious government would have just started telling Nigerians that, okay, we'll do this, we'll just try and do something about the price, but because we're expecting that in 3 months,
harvest will begin.
Harvest will begin.
As against 90 days.
As a short-term measure.
Yes.
And then the other thing is that encourage Nigerians, if since the herdsmen have taken over the farms, you know what some people
But
do?
they are not farming.
No, what some people do
They
now?
can't farm.
What some people do now?
They are herdsmen.
There are alternative farms. What am I talking about? Cement bags have become alternative farms.
Yes.
That people use to cultivate their homes.
Yes.
What I'm saying is that
Those things don't work. I did it in my
You
house.
cannot cultivate.
The yam did not. It looked like a ram. After 9 months, the yam.
You don't do it.
We watered it well. After 9 months, by the time the yam came out, we opened the cement.
In the course of this
It was like a ram.
at the election of bailout, the president has announced that they are giving 30 billion naira to each state government.
to do what?
Bailout.
My worry is, let us think. The last one go 30 billion times 36 government. Can that alone not fix a refinery?
God bless you, sir.
Can that alone not fix a textile company and generate employment? What of agro processing? 30 billion times 36 states.
But what do Nigerians want? We are crying, we are hungry. They have not allocated 30 billion to feed you with yam
No,
and
that's
rice.
not a solution. That's not a solution.
What the people who are crying in a worry.
Corner it.
Exactly.
The government will corner
Have you
it.
ever received any?
Okay, I have a question.
Okay.
Right. If the palliatives got to the people, is it an immediate solution? Because they say that
It's
a hungry man
it's
is
a moment.
an angry man.
And
It's not just an angry man, it's a dangerous man.
It's a solution for the time, but it will never solve the problem.
So, okay, what's the final solution?
So the final solution is that the government must summon the courage, go to those farms, dislodge the illegal occupants, and allow people. No. And then there are farms that have had their.
Do you know who your president is?
And yet, bandits are telling them until you pay us levies.
Yes.
You cannot harvest. So release soldiers to go there and crush these people.
Yes.
If you anything other than that is a waste of time.
Yes, the government must crush these illegal occupants of our farms. When we return, Juror Cyril Abako will be examining food politics in Nigeria. Yes, food is also part of the politics of Nigeria right now. Please stay with us, we'll be right back.
Middleman.
My case, from food scarcity to food politics. People of my land, I have a story to tell you. It is good news that is not so good news. Well, that depends on the side of the divide that you are. Anyway, when I give you a snippet, you judge the rest for yourself. The Nigerian Customs Service says it will distribute seized food items to Nigerians nationwide. They said they will only share the food after they've conducted quality tests to be sure what they share is in good shape. Now, not all foods make it out alive. That is, when some have gone in, of course, not all of them come back alive. You know, with all the hunger in the land, everybody is just looking for how to have what to put in their stomach. Customs people are in an advantageous position. This looks like the right time to be in customs, actually. Don't ask me why. How about the police? Since they have power of arrest, they do help the process by arresting food clerks and sharing the food to citizens after conducting their own tests. It will make history faster, won't it? My only concern is that can a nation without data give good account of how things are shared? I was also wondering, shouldn't NAFDAC be the one testing food items? Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I shall not go with the cynics. They say if 5 bags of rice going to be tested, you are not very sure 5 bags will come out. Actually, it is possible that with all the hunger in the land, some people have found their own solution. My verdict: owners of the seized food items should have been fined and allowed to sell them in Nigeria. It is better that way.
Well, in one of our presentation, they've been referenced to Thomas Hobbes. I think with the food situation, we finally arrived at the Hobbesian society.
That's all.
Isn't it? Yes, it is. Where it is jungle justice, it is survival of the fittest, and people are maximizing their uniform as a currency for survival. So that's what it is. Do you know, even if a truck of food is freshly harvested, and I'm wearing the uniform with the legitimate authority to stop them, I'm a food tester. Not all of them that pass the test will survive.
It's why bag goes in for test.
So
Only 5 will come out alive.
just like that food truck has its own kind of accident, and in every accident there are casualties. The accidented portion of that food will end up with me to solve a section of my own hunger. Look, and my people, you see, we are laughing, but that this parody is the Nigerian reality.
Please, Joa, I want to apply to join custom, please.
Well, it's the casualties of the Nigerian state that we are fortunate. This is self-inflicted, okay? There was a time we warned that the way we are steering this economy, we'll get to a point where if we see one another, we'll not recognize one another again. Yes, the way we are going. And we're almost there. Drive in the night in Lagos. I drove in the night not too long ago, and all the checkpoints, the police stopped me, unlike before. They just said, the law, they stopped me. And they asked me if there's anything I have. I should just give them. And so they keep saying that. Yes, the other time that you have to part with banana. There was time I parted with bread. Okay, you parted with banana. I wanted with banana and bread. You understand? So
the bread was half eaten. They say bring it.
And this policemen, I tell you, they have AK-47 with them.
That means they were still nice.
So they can wait that at any point because of the way we are going. And I think that we'll have to call on the president to do the needful. You see, each time they say we should not call the president, we should call governors and all that. Well, I disagree. The governors manage their space. The president, the box up at his court. The president must address. Yes, he must address.
Was he not the one who said subsidy is gone without
corruption now.
He went to Jeboda and was boasting about it. That strange spirit
entered him.
entered him.
Oh no, he was apologizing actually that he did not know what he was saying when he said it.
Now that he knows, has he retracted?
No, Benga Daniel says he can't talk. He's thinking of what to do.
That's
and that's why I'm saying that the primary responsibility of any government is securing lives of people. Food, shelter, and clothing, that was when man was emerging from being a primitive man, is returning in Nigeria now. People who can clothe themselves well now are seen to be doing well. If you can eat belly full, let's use that, you are seen to be fine. I don't think people right now are even thinking of savings. As soon as money comes in, you pay fees, you pay rent.
Before now, when things were reasonably okay, people didn't have up to 500,000.
Oh, 90% of bank owners do not have 500,000.
My own real worry is, in a country, I mean, we've said it before, but in a country, black people now have to beg to eat. Or,
collapse strategically for it.
Let me give you scenarios. When you have food to eat and you have to beg to eat, it means you've lost your dignity as a human being.
Yes.
You have. And just imagine what impact this has on family values, on mothers, on fathers, on women.
True.
Because they all become vulnerable. And people cannot
This
just
union is that the IDP
And that's the
camp.
thing.
So women are used as in exchange for.
During the lockdown,
True.
you saw the woman that was drinking, that came out and drank gin and was all over the place looking for men that will sleep with her for her to get money to feed her children.
Jesus.
When she was interviewed. You understand? So
Imagine that woman now.
At that time, the country was okay. The only thing, the world was locked down.
Yes.
Right now, you can move around, but this is even
can't get
worse. Yeah, this is even worse than that.
Can I tell an experience I had?
There's no petrol, no.
Some years
There's
ago.
scarcity.
An experience I had some years ago. I was driving into my compound with my wife and children. So I parked, opened the gate, I saw this woman with some children.
Inside your compound?
No, outside my compound.
Okay.
So I got down from the car to open the gate, and the woman approached me. Good evening, sir. Yes. She said, I want to beg you something. I said, what is it? She said, please, that things are so bad for her. That this her teenage daughter is 16. That, she wants me and my family to take her as part of us, that whatever we can
adopt her.
To adopt her, that if we want her to be a house girl or whatever,
Anything.
that she should just join our family.
And she doesn't know you before.
I don't know I never knew her. And my wife and children were watching. I said, okay, hold on, let me back. So I took them in and I asked everybody to get in. And I told the woman, how can I just adopt your daughter? I don't know you. I don't know your daughter, nothing. If something happens to your daughter, what will you say? So what I did, I said, madam, please, I don't run an adoption agency. So what I will do, I just look for some money and gave her. I said, just give me your phone number. I just wrote something. Said, if somebody has the facility or something like that, I'll let them know. Now, if you look at this young, you could just see a little girl in puberty.
It's an embodiment of temptation.
Jesus.
Men like us, struggling to be holy.
Something that day.
Network full
I felt
everywhere.
so sad. And that was when the country was even far better than what it is today. So you can imagine what is going on everywhere. So this issue
And the
of
government
politics,
said people complaining are sponsored.
Yes.
but
No, you see, this thing annoys me because doesn't mean that when you get into government, you become.
There's a disconnect.
I know that there's a disconnect.
disconnect from reality.
I know that there's a disconnect.
Yes.
You see, when you go to Aso Rock, the way it is placed on that rock, you know there has to be a disconnect. But the people in parliament or our National Assembly that we elected or they selected themselves, how can somebody, after governing for 8 years,
Serious country, the National Assembly by now will be going through what we call impeachment proceedings.
shouldn't the people be even recalling
They
himself?
should impeach the president.
The people who selected him should be recalling
They
him.
took a wrong decision on behalf of 200 million people. He shouldn't be sitting on that seat. You understand? Because, see, we are in complete mess.
Not least when we are aware that subsidy is even still being paid through the back door.
Can you
To
imagine?
whom? We don't know. How much? We don't know. He said that it was being paid to a cabal in the past. He didn't tell us their names. Now he's paying his own to his own cabal. We don't know about it. And yet, price of petrol is still very high.
And you cannot find it.
cannot find it.
There's fuel scarcity. They are
And
like
yet, you
you.
can't find it.
And now he's not even talking at all.
Anything at all.
At least Akpabo tried for voicing out his foolishness.
Hello.
Okay, he tried. I mean, he spoke. How be it garbage? He spoke. You understand? But the president is not even saying anything. That is an indictment. I hereby call on the National Assembly to commence an impeachment proceeding against the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in the person of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And that should commence now.
You cannot get a seconding to this your motion. Much of the members of the National Assembly, ministers, are not see their position as compensations. As you know. So this what's it called? Partisanship is cancerous.
but he has exercised his right as a citizen.
He has.
No, I'm saying where he would have gotten people to run to action for what he is stating as obvious facts.
Don't worry.
It will fall again
No,
to
don't worry
passivity.
about that. A citizen has expressed,
His own,
exercised his right.
You never
It's
know
blowing in the
how,
wind.
you never know how far that goes. Oh well, that's all on the middlemen of jurors for today. I'd like to thank you, my fellow jurors, for being on the show today, as well as you, the viewer, for keeping a date with us yet again. To join us next time, do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Enterprise TV 7 and follow us, of course, across all our social media handles at Enterprise TV 7. You may also visit our website at www.enterprisetvnews.com. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.